The issue with the rehearsal space above the workshop, recording videos is going to be a bit interesting. I get live music while I work. If you're not bleeding at the end, you haven't worked hard enough. That's my motto. So I've been having to think about how I'm going to start assembling this guitar. Obviously I need to apply some finish, but if anyone has ever worked on a kind of semi-hollow body, especially an ES335, you'll know that getting the electronics in and out is an absolute pig. I'm quite lucky, I don't have a back on this at the moment, and to attach the back, the glue joint is all hidden, so I'm thinking that I could actually get everything on this guitar as is to the point where it's finished. So that means final sanding, applying an oil finish, actually installing the electronics and wiring it up before I put on the back. I think that's the approach I'm going to take, just to save myself stress and swearing, lots of swearing. But that means that the next job really is final sanding, which, if anybody's watched my other videos where I've been sanding, is fully aware that it's my favourite job in the world. So I suppose I should make a start on that, really. Well, I made a tailpiece for this guitar recently. Since the video of actually making it, I've put a little piece of leather just underneath here as a bit of extra protection so that this surface, when that rubs, doesn't scrape away the copper. And that lines up nicely there. So where that lines up is pretty much spot on. What I now need to do is actually drill the end of the body for the attachment for this. My strap locks will sit through the tailpiece and into the body of the guitar, which will be the main method of securing it, and then I've got 3 screw holes just to keep it steady and hold everything in place properly. So there we've got the tailpiece. That is nicely floating. Obviously the string tension will hold it rigid once it's on the bridge, and if I place a bridge roughly where it's going to be and a line where the strings will be, we should have quite a nice angle. Not too sharp a break angle, so we shouldn't be snapping strings all the time. And that should be about perfect. If it comes to it and I need to anchor this down hard, I can attach a copper rivet or a copper screw of some sort straight through here and anchor this down hard to the body. I don't think I'll need to, but the option is there. So whilst I've still got the tailpiece attached, I've decided I'm going to measure up and drill for the bridge. That means that I can put on both my E strings and it'll give me a rough idea of where everything needs to be. So if I flip the guitar over and grab out a couple of tuners, we can get those on. And whilst I've got two of them in, I may as well test fit all of them to get them lined up and the screw holes drilled. When you're screwing in tuners and other hardware, try and make sure you use the right size screwdriver for the screws. It sounds stupid, but if it's not the right size, it's either going to shear off the head because you're putting in too much force, or it's just going to strip it all because it's moving too much. Also, it's a good idea to rub some beeswax or something of this, something similar on the screws. It just helps them to lubricate the threads as it screws its way in. And despite the fact that I said use the right screwdriver, that's not the right screwdriver. So as well as two tuners, I'm going to need the nut. So I made a buffalo horn nut and I'm going to use that. I need to put a couple of slots in just for the E strings for now, and so once that's done I can lightly install that, and that'll give me everything I need to run two E strings, gently rest the bridge in place and mark out exactly where it needs to be. So I've placed the bridge roughly where the measurements say it needs to be. Obviously it's not set up yet, so it's not going to sound quite right. There will be a bit of buzz and I haven't set the action and things. But I've tuned both strings to E, and if I use my tuner, yeah, it's also really loud already and there's no back on it yet. So if I plug that E and then check on the 12th fret, the intonation is close enough there that that saddle is in the right place. And that is pretty much bang on there. So what I need to do is mark out where these holes are, which obviously I've got the bridge sat on a piece of veneer and lifted there. So I need to drill with a small drill bit straight down through these bridge holes, which will give me the locations, and then I can just drill for the ferrules that sit in, and then I can install the posts. But first, double check it all, make sure everything's still in the right place. This is the point where normally I would drill a hole through one of the posts so that I can ground the strings. However, this is a copper top, and these are going to be touching the copper, and this is going to be touching the posts, which are going to be touching these, and the strings are going to be on the bridge, which means that the entire top will be grounded. So I'm not going to do string ground. If it comes to it, I can add one to the tailpiece later on, but as it is, I don't need one. So as I said, I want to fit all the electronics before I put the back on this. I'm reaching a point where I need to put the back on to really do much more. So I think I'm going to test fit all the electronics and make sure that they all sit in the right place. And if they do, I'm going to leave them there, and then I'll get everything wired up, and then I can start putting things together. And it'll start looking like an actual guitar, which is quite nice. So yesterday I installed the pickups into the body of the guitar. I had to get the bottom of the pickup rings shaped to fit the contour of the top. To do that, I wrapped some masking tape around the outside edge, and I used this, which is a pencil with another bit of pencil attached to the back of it. So I turned a small block of the pencil on its side, rounded off this face so it would run smoothly, and have the lead sticking out of the side. So I basically just traced around the contour of the body like this, drawing on the side of the pickup exactly where the contour followed, and then I just filed and ground the pickup cover down to that height, and then chamfered the inside of it so that it would sit comfortably. So both of those are now at the right height and a nice comfortable fit. Then I drilled the holes and screwed them down, but obviously through the entire process forgot to record it. But that does now mean that I need to start wiring. I also installed all the electronics. I did record that, but I think the memory ran out on my camera. I've been doing well at making sure that you get to see everything that's done on this. Clearly. So I've got the knobs and switch tip that I made installed here, and all of the electronics are currently fitted. We've got the finger slicer arrow pointers on there, jack socket and the switch. What I need to do is wire it all up so it's going to work, and I can test this before I put the back on to make sure that anything that needs tweaking can be tweaked. So I've got everything wired up, and I've tidied all the cables with some little cable ties, and I've used a hot glue gun to just attach the wires where they need to be nicely secured. I just need to test this. Obviously, if I don't test it before I put the back on, there's no point wiring it together before I put the back on. So to do that, all we need is an amplifier, which I have down here rather conveniently, and we just check all the positions, and then check the volumes. Sounds good to me. I think we should glue the back on. So in the spirit of doing things backwards, everything's wired up, it's partially assembled, and now I'm going to put some oil on the body. More oil. I've already put some on, but I pretty much need to just keep oiling all the woodwork now, and until I build up a little bit of a shine. I don't want too much, just a few layers. So I think we're already on 3 or 4. I'm just going to keep working at it until it's all sorted. It's really difficult to not just put strings on this now though. One thing I do need to do before I start assembling this is drill a hole in the heel of the body for the second strap lock, because I don't currently have that, and it's not going on the upper horn because I don't really want the weight of this hanging on quite a fragile area. Also, I didn't leave a big enough block inside to actually attach it to. So what I'm going to do is remove that and then probably wedge up the body end just to make sure everything's nice and secure. Yep, we're good. And then I'm going to mark out and drill a 10mm hole for the strap for my strap locks. So I need a drill, which is there. And now we can start assembling. I'm going to put a big piece of fake suede down because it's really nice and soft and it stops me scratching anything. And then I'm going to start putting this together. I think I'll start with the tuners. Don't tell anybody, but I haven't done this bit yet. Tailpiece is on, tuners are in. I really like Charlotte hardware. They've got kind of self-centering washers for the tuners, really nice. Frets are polished, Fretboard's oiled. Now I'm quite sure people are going to comment about the shielding properties of this guitar and question what's going on. So to answer some questions, I've put a jumper wire between the top and the back, which in theory should mean I have continuity between the both. So if I have continuity, we'll get a beep. So bridge to top. That's good. This is going to be a little bit operation-y. That was a fun game. So that one's touching the back, and that's on the top. So the top and the back are all connected, which means if I put that on the back, everything is grounded. Except the tailpiece. But we shouldn't need to ground that because everything else is grounded. Well, I slotted the nut last night, hence the t-shirt change. I now need to cut the slots to depth, which means I need the guitar the opposite way around. Always move the guitar to the easiest way to work on it. There's no point making life difficult for yourself. I appreciate the irony of that statement. Damn.